Okay. Somebody's got their television on or something.
You may be hearing Jeannie in the background. I'm sorry.
Okay. You might want to have her turn it down, or it's
I'll close the door.
That, or you could just mute until you're ready to talk.
It's 9 o'clock. Oh, John's trying to get on, Kim. So if you want to start it, or do you want to wait for John? He should be coming on any moment. I'm sorry, what?
Do we have Tracy?
No, I don't see Tracy either.
I think we need Tracy in order to start, right, Jim? You have to unmute yourself.
Yes, I'm not sure. Todd, if you're in the office, can you see what's going on with Tracy?
Sure.
Thanks.
Once we get Tracy, I think maybe we can start.
Okay, it looks like we are streaming on Facebook right now, so.
Jim,
Yes.
how do you mute yourself on it? Is there, do you press like 6 or 9 or?
Are
If
you on your phone or your computer?
No, I'm on my computer.
Yeah, down at the. If you're in the office, can you see what's going on with Tracy? Oops, hang on a second. I got a bunch of stuff going on here.
Okay. If we get Tracy, I think maybe we can.
Down at the bottom of your screen, there should be a microphone or something that says mute. The bottom.
Got it. Yep, thank you.
This is Todd. Tracy is having some difficulty getting on, so she has the IT tech in her office helping her.
There she is.
There she is.
Sorry, I was having technical difficulties.
Hi, Tracy.
I'm like, come on, Kyler, get moving. Good morning.
Good morning. Okay, so everybody's here except for John, so I can go ahead and start.
He's here.
Oh, he's here? Okay, good. All right, so Jim just got up. Oh, I don't know where he went. There he is. Okay, we'll start then.
Yes, we're streaming and I
We're
have to
ready.
turn the cable. We're ready.
Okay, I'm going to call the Special Finance and Personnel Committee meeting to order Friday, May 1st at 9:05 a.m. Please silence your mobile devices. Stacy, is the recording on or the live stream on?
Yes.
Okay, will you please do the roll call?
Sure. Mrs. Foglio,
Here.
Ms. Young,
Here.
Mr. Roscovics,
Here.
Mr. Timonier,
Here.
Mr. Franklin,
Here.
Ms. Welch,
Having trouble with my sound.
Mrs. Sheldon,
Here.
She's here too.
and I see Mrs. Haynes or Ms. Haynes from Ward 5 has joined us, and Chief Gruber is with us, as well as Todd Shimko from the Finance Department.
Okay, I'd like to welcome everyone, and I'm going to go ahead, and the purpose of this meeting is for the Finance Director and the City Manager to present the 2020 budget and an explanation of the changes. So I'm going to turn the meeting over to them.
Thank you, Mr. Foglio. Just to note, I do have Craig Pierce from Water Pollution, John Melnick from Public Works, and Bill Jepson, our engineering tech, are in the chamber with me, social distancing, so, but they're here to listen in as well. As you got last night, we have been going through the budget, looking at reductions based on what we're being told, not only from the state, but from the county, and obviously what we are seeing here in the county, and with all the businesses that have been closed, the layoffs that have taken place in other companies, and trying to adjust the budget based on what we project is going to be a lost revenue. Couple things to note, that yesterday, obviously, some of you probably saw the unemployment figures that came out. You've got a nation that's at 18% unemployment right now, over 30 million people. The county was at 13%. We are now approaching 14%. And during the recession in 2008 and through 2010, our peak was at 13.6% unemployment in the county. So we are at that, if not over it now. And there are over 1,000 people waiting in the queue to get on unemployment and start receiving assistance. So, you know, things are definitely starting to hit now with the reality of everything that's going on. Tracy and I did reach out to our top 10 employers. And by the way, we are one of our top 10 employers when it comes to income tax revenue. Most of them have implemented cuts or have been doing layoffs. One of them amounts to $22,000 every 2 weeks in payroll of a loss to us. So, you know, we feel that with only 15 payrolls left in the end of the year, obviously we need to act a little faster. Waiting on any kind of stimulus for municipalities seems like a pretty moot point at this time. You know, we again hear the federal government saying, you know, we're not bailing out cities, even though they're the ones that told all these businesses to close down and lost the revenue. So I'm not confident at all that we're going to receive any help there. Most of you have probably been watching the governor. They are looking at over a $2 billion shortfall by the end of their fiscal year, which is June 30th. And then they're predicting I think it was a $3.2 billion shortfall for 20 through 21. So they have made it clear that every dime of the rainy day fund that we help supplement will be used for their coffers and nobody else's. So that leaves us with what we are projecting in our budget. And I did provide you guys all with a narrative, but I'll kind of go through it. And if you have any questions on it, please feel free to stop me at any time and ask. But right now we are projecting a $960,536.56 loss in revenue. The way that we calculated that is we took a 15% reduction in income tax, and that's on the balance that still has to be collected. We already have obviously people that have made payments or withholdings that have come in. So we know that money is there already. So what we're still projected in the budget to receive is where we took the percentage off of rather than doing it globally. Property tax reduction of 10%. And again, that's on the uncollected balance. As I noted to you guys before in a meeting, the local government fund is being cut by the state 15%. That information was received from the county. EMS, we haven't been running many EMS calls, not only because we've shifted some of that to CCAN to try to protect our PPE and protect our guys, but ambulance runs are way, way down. Unfortunately, people that really do need service are not seeking medical attention because they're afraid to go to the hospitals or for whatever reason. So we're projecting a loss of $30,000 in income there. Court revenue, again, on the uncollected balance, we're projecting a 20% reduction. And gas tax right now at the state level, as you know, as you've heard, is down 40%. The travel per ODOT's specs, the last ones I saw, travel is down 47%. Obviously, with things opening back up, travel is going to increase. So we took a reduction of 25% of the uncollected balance through the rest of the year. There's obviously smaller miscellaneous reductions in the budget, but those are the big highlights that are going to affect it the most. Thankfully, because of the large carryover that we had, what we presented to you in this packet was Tracy and I went through and changed all the income line items to decrease those to what our projections would be, but we left the expenses as they are passed in the last budget figures that appropriations that Tracy presented. So that means that right now we have a deficit of $595,307.49. That would leave us with a zero carryover going into next year. We're comfortable, well, not comfortable, but we think at a minimum, we would need at least a $250,000 carryover for the first two payrolls in the new fiscal year of 2021. So we'd like to have at least $250,000 in the bank going into next year. So that leaves us with $845,307.49 to make up on the expense side. That is inclusive of the loss of gas tax. And the reason that I included that in the number is right now the general fund has not had to supplement public works because it has been fully funded by the gas tax. So that reduction in public works of $85,748.35 needs to be realized in cutting expenses in public works. The other thing that I attached to your packet was a breakdown of each department and what we think the overall budget reduction would be. Again, the way we, excuse me, the way we calculated that is we took what each department represented in the budget as far as expenses by percentage, and then we took the amount we needed and took those percentages and then determined what cuts would be needed in each one of those departments so that it is spread out over the entire city. We did meet with our department heads and the unions about this. Basically what it comes down to, if there's other ways to reduce the budget within their particular departments to hit those numbers, whether it's with personnel, whether it's with any kind of operating or other expenses that they have, those are the things that we want to look to reduce. We want to reduce everything we can in those departments before we have to get to any kind of adjustments in wages and salaries, which evidently obviously means layoffs or furloughs or a combination of both. So you have listed there all the departments and the cuts they would see in those departments. The intent right now would be, you know, we do have some ideas floating around with the department heads and the staff of each department to look at these and see how we can mitigate this loss as best we can. So what we will discuss basically the same stuff on Monday at the council meeting. It's our intent to have to you a finalized budget with those cuts in the expense side, knowing exactly all those cuts, what they mean as far as employees versus other cuts to each department, and have that either at a special meeting or by your second meeting in May. We may have to have a special meeting a little bit sooner than the regular scheduled council meeting, only because there are obligations in our collective bargaining agreements for timeliness of notice for layoffs. So we may have to call a special meeting, but we're going to keep track of that and see how quickly we can get the rest of this done. So obviously, as you can see, going through those departments, those are big numbers. They're devastating numbers to those departments. But we just don't have the funds to take from anywhere else. What we've done already is the department heads have been instructed to close down POs. Only necessities can remain on POs, just so we know what the scope of everything is on the spending. What we usually use is something called a blanket PO, where we can have if there's something we need to run out and get quickly, we can use that PO so it's still tracked. We've asked to close all those blanket POs down if there isn't anything that is already spent on, or anything that's already ordered but not received on those. And then we're going to go to a vendor specific purchase order that obviously everybody has to approve of those spending items as we move forward here in the rest of the year. Overtime, obviously we're doing our best to cut all of that down. Basically it's on an emergency basis. We know things are going to still come up that we have to respond to, and we're going to do our best to do all that. But any kind of other overtime, is limited and has to be approved before it can be taken. We are not going to hire a seasonal grass cutter this year that goes around and cuts other people's property. We do have some staff members that have already agreed to pick up some of that slack, but it's going to be slow. So, that's one of the services that we just provide that, it's just going to be slower this year. Because we're looking at layoffs, we have held off on hiring any kind of other seasonal people in the parks or at sanitation or in public works, and I don't anticipate we'll be able to do that. The one thing we will be able to do to kind of mitigate that loss in public works is possibly shift one more full-time person over to parks to be paid out of the levy. So that'll free up some money in public works, but still get the parks done as best we can with the limited staff we're going to have without seasonals. As you know, and today is actually the bid opening for the revised paving project. I cut that project in half based on the money we have already received from the levy proceeds. So, we'll do our best to get a good package out there. I think that opening is at noon or at 10 o'clock today. I doubt we will have it evaluated before we get into Monday's meeting to bring it for passage. So it'll probably be at your next meeting. But that money is already secured. And then going forward, we'll use the second half collection and the first half collection of the following year to put together our program, just knowing what monies are in the bank. It's important to note that, right now with income tax collections and withholdings are basically on the first and second quarter, where actually it's on the first quarter. We'll be starting to get into the second quarter. We'll start to receive a lot of those decreases in the withholdings, but this is going to continue into 2021 as well. There's been some polling done. People are not eager to rush out to restaurants. They're not eager to rush out to gyms. There are absolutely some people that are tired of this, sitting home and want to get back to business. But the comfort level of all those things is still questionable. And as you know, a lot of the summer activities, festivals, everything like that through the state of Ohio has been pretty much put on hold or canceled. Being our tourism is a huge industry here in the city, I see some deficiencies there. And as I've stated before, I'm very worried that we're going to have some companies and restaurants and things like that just don't open. Other things to note that I'll probably need a little bit more of your guidance on. We do have the Tavision project where it was relocating a pump station and doing some work on the road there. That is ready to go. That project is funded out of wastewater treatment and through an OPWC grant. So we will be letting that on the street soon. The tennis and pickleball court project has been ready to go. You know, those funds are also secured through the levy. So if you guys are comfortable with that, we'll let that out on the street. I don't know if when we get it done, playgrounds and things like that will be able to open yet. So we might have a pretty park, but it locked, but at least we'll be getting the work done. So if you guys are okay with that, we'll let that go. And then we still have to get the 531 culvert done. There's a culvert storm pipe that comes off of Lake Road there down to the lake, and that's going to be a pretty big project. It's monies that's going to come out of PI, so I need to work with Tracy to make sure that we have those funds available to get that done in a timely manner. We have to get that one done. So we've been working with the Army Corps and our engineers to get approval on those things, and that'll be ready to go soon as well. Other than that, I guess I'll open it up for questions.
I have one question, Jim.
Yeah.
The lands and buildings fund, can you just give me just a brief idea of is that like, just give me a brief idea of what that is again.
Sure. That's our two custodial staff. So we have a foreman and then another custodian, and
Okay.
then that usually pays for all the supplies, you know, the paper towels, the toilet paper, the cleaning supplies, and anything that we need for the building, any kind of repairs to HVACs, lights. It basically encompasses, the most of that fund comes out of both the City Hall building and the annex. And then they do also assist in some of the other buildings, but most of the expenses are put through for these two buildings.
Okay.
I have a question for the manager, if I may, Madam Chairman. And you?
Go ahead, Mike.
Okay. Jim, do you have a rough number in terms of how many layoffs we're looking at?
Somewhat, and even as of yesterday, these budget numbers changed, but it's significant. At our first blush, it was around 7 firefighters. It was around, I think, 10 or 11 police officers. I would say globally, you know, it could be 25 to 30 people. Because you have to remember that because we are self-insured when it comes to unemployment, it's a dollar for dollar. So we pay that unemployment wage. So you really have to lay off 2 people to get the salary of 1. Obviously, there's savings when it comes to health insurance and everything like that. But the other thing you have to remember is when we do layoffs, any kind of vacation bank or personal time bank also has to be paid out. The sick bank can remain. So we would have expenses if people haven't taken vacations or used their personal time. Those banks have to be paid out upon layoff. So there's an added expense to that as well.
Thank you.
Tracy, have I missed anything?
I apologize. My signal seems to be having issues. You keep cracking up, you know, like breaking up. So could you repeat what you said?
I just said if there was anything that you had that or would like to add, or if anything I missed.
No, I mean, we've just, you know, we're just really struggling trying to figure out how to, you know, how we're going to function with if we do send people home. I mean, services are definitely going to be an issue. I mean, if specifically, you know, it breaks it really disturbs me when I have to think about laying off police and fire when they're the ones that are out there taking care of everything. And this is rough on everybody. And like even laying off somebody in my office, I'm so short-staffed now as it is. And then the person that I would have to lay off is the person that's helping with income tax. So it's very frustrating. So I'm hoping that we can do this as, getting these numbers without having to lay people off, but I don't know how we're going to do it.
The other thing you see in that budget sheet for each department, you see a $24,000 hit to the health department. Now, the health department has been going 24/7 since this thing started. We have over 100 people that we either have in quarantine or have to contact trace or have to supervise during this thing right now. We are getting some funding from ODH. They're just sending little bits and pieces here and there as they can. It's not adding up to much, but it's something. Chief Gruber is also assisting us with the FEMA grants that's available. There again, it only pays for PPE. We don't know if it'll pay for overtime and things like that. But we're throwing everything that we can at it in hopes that we'll get some reimbursement for it. But those funds are, you've got a whole country scrambling for those funds. We do have some webinars next week that we have to sit in on to make sure that everything's being done correctly. Hopefully they'll give us a little bit more guidance then. But there is so much stuff coming out so quickly. Not even they know what the heck is going on and how it's going to be funded. And I'm just very concerned that small communities like ours are just going to get overlooked and overpassed, and they're not going to have much concern for what we have going on.
Jim, when
Yes.
we talk about 25 to 30 people, are you talking union people or are you talking about people?
Everyone. I mean, the way that this budget is laid out, those department cuts, department has to figure out a way to decrease their particular department's budget by that number. And
Okay.
again, like I said, if they can do it by cutting other means and that saves people from going home, we're all for that.
Okay.
But basically they have to hit this target, and I essentially have to hit these targets in each department and do our best to mitigate how many people go home.
Okay.
Kim, can I add into that as well, just because I've been involved in looking at these numbers very hard.
Sure.
I've been the chief for 5 years here. Our budget is so lean. There's not much for discretionary spending. It's not like I can shave 100,000 and not see it. I'm gonna guess 95% of my budget is salary and wages. The rest of it's very tight. I mean, I got to pay utilities, got to pay gas, electric, all that. So, this number that we're looking at is significant, and we're halfway through the year, which even complicates it more. I mean, if we were tackling this in January, we could maybe, do something a little different, but we're halfway through the year. So, trying to respond to this in a matter of 15 pays to hit that amount of money is significant. And the fact that we already operate at a very low manning, we should have more manning here to do what we do in the city. We respond to fire and EMS.
We need our people.
And so we're getting any cuts to manpower is going to result in a loss of service to the citizens. I just want them to be aware that, if guys aren't here, we can barely do what we do now with what we got. So I just want the citizens and the council to be aware that guys, firefighters go home, which with this number, I don't see how we can't send some guys home and hit that number. There's going to be an impact to the city. So that's all I just wanted to add to that, because people should know.
I agree.
The other thing,
I
when it comes to the fire department as well, the you know, you have to have a certain amount of guys to continue to run EMS. You know, if a guys are out on an EMS call, you can't send one guy's out on an engine to go put out a fire. So depending on the cuts that we have to make, we might have to, you know, pull back on running EMS calls, which is another hit to the budget. That's more income that we lose. We budgeted $150,000, I think, this year total for EMS runs. We've already cut it by 30,000. That could be decreased more.
Mhm.
And the only other thing that I would say is after we implement this or whatever we're going to do here, you know, I hope to God we're totally wrong on this. Tracy, I, and the chief, in looking at this, you know, we have some fears. The more stuff that comes out from the state and federal level, we might be a little bit light on how much we're going to see in a decrease. But if it goes the other way and I'm totally wrong, we will, as we see those numbers go up or things are different, we'll pull people back, we'll change budgets, we'll do everything immediately. We won't wait till the end of the year and go, oh, well, we were wrong, sorry. But no, we can't afford to lose anyone. And, you know, we'll do our best to mitigate whatever we can to get people back to work.
Okay. Is there any other questions or comments, or is there anything else we need to discuss?
Kim, can I add one?
Sure.
In going through all of this, we've also, you know, brainstormed, you know, Carolyn and we've all met trying to come up with ideas on how to fix this problem. And bottom line, the one thing that we've decided and come to the conclusion on is that we do not offer any fluff services. So and that's when, you know, Chief Gruber says, you know, that this is going to affect service. It's the main services that we offer for our citizens. And, you know, this pandemic was not caused by, you know, misappropriation of funds or anything like that. This is something that, you know, this is out of our control and we're left, you know, picking up the pieces. So I just want you to know that we're doing everything we can to save people and keep them here, but it's rough.
Okay.
That's all I have.
Yeah, we understand that. Okay, I guess that's it. We adjourn the meeting, right? Do we have to vote on this?
No, there's nothing.
There's
nothing
nothing.
going on. Like I said, we can have the same discussion with the full council on Monday.
Okay,
And then we're gonna keep working till late hours of the night, trying to put together what the full budget with the expenses added to what you already have looks like. You have a rough idea right there.
Right.
You know, again, hopefully if something changes in the next week, we'll try to mitigate it. But this is, I think we're there. I think this is a decent projection of the cuts we're going to see. And I don't know if we're going to be able to, I don't know what else to do with it.
well, I certainly appreciate all of the work that you guys put into this budget. I mean, this was a lot of work, and I appreciate getting this last night. I know you put in a lot of work doing this, and Tracy and Jim, I do appreciate everything you guys did to get this ready for us. It was very well done, and I know this is not easy for either one of you to do. It's not easy for any of us to look at, and
The one that, just looking at my notes here, the one thing that is also a significant hit to this budget, in the police department, you recall we have 3 resource officers that are in the schools.
Right.
Because the schools aren't functioning, that's a loss of close to $98,000, $99,000.
I think it was 96.
$96,000. Okay. So, and we don't know what's going to happen next year.
Right.
There's already discussion of some type of modified school year. So we don't know what's going to happen with that as well, or whether we can count on that income coming in for the second half of the year. So that's the loss that we've seen already in payments from the schools. And obviously they're not going to pay us when we're not
Right.
in our services. So, you know, that's almost $100,000 right there in lost income.
Right. Okay, is there anything else for the good of the order before we adjourn the meeting? Okay, can I have a motion to adjourn? Okay,
I'll move.
okay, I'll second. Okay, the meeting's adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank
You're
you. Have a good
welcome.
day.
Thank you, Jim. You too. Thanks for all your work.